Evening. This is Brian Johnson, and I choose to take a moment to welcome you and thank you for investing an hour or 45 minutes or wherever we end up at for me to share some information with you that has been a dramatic impact in my life and about 15,000 other people. So I invite you to tune in and to take your belief systems or whatever things that you may have going on in your head that we have been handed down and taken as true and never really questioned. All I invite you to do is just take them and just set them right there. I'm going to present some things to you tonight, and here's some body language. We'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to present some information to you tonight that has been crazy to think about how I have changed my life and what I've seen and just what I've seen in my family's life and many others. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic on our mindset. And we're going to talk specifically about the elephant and the ant. So if you have never heard me talk about that and this is your first time, I have a good feeling that you're going to enjoy the story and it's going to make some amazing sense to why we do some things that we do. So without further ado, give me about 2 moments and let me get my slideshow up. Keep your fingers crossed. Email and all this fun stuff is always never really my favorite. So just hang tight. All right, I think we made it. So all I ask you to do at this moment for the next hour is please turn your phone off, close your Facebook, go where it's quiet, get some water for sure, and you'll actually hear me take, and I'll announce them little water breaks a lot of times along the way, so I'll cue you when to drink water. It's very important. And I also invite you to take some notes with things that resonate with you. And above all, I ask you to open your mind to what if things can change, and does it really start with our thoughts and our words? We'll present some information tonight to see exactly if you believe that that's actual or factual or truth and the whole 9 yards. So this is my first water drinking cue. All right. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey for a moment so you have a better understanding of Chris and I, kind of where we've been, who we are, and really why we do what we do. My first question to you is this: have you ever heard of the term self-directed neuroplasticity? Interesting word. Next one. Have you ever heard of the term iatrogenesis? If you have not, don't feel bad. I had not heard of either one of those words up until about a year and 2-3 years ago now. And I'll explain to you a little bit more about what they actually mean here in a moment. So let me just give you some facts about where we are as a population in the United States that you may find rather interesting. So starting from the top, these are the current state of the United States in statistics and health statistics. So the 4 leading causes of death, according to the CDC, which is the Center of Disease Control, in the year 2010. And yes, I said 2010, and yes, you're correct, it's 2015. And more importantly, that is the last time that those stats are actually available. Now there is law passed where they don't have to reveal that information. And when I get down to the statistics of things, you probably understand why they would be choosing or opting everything they can do to kind of keep those numbers a secret. So here we go. Heart disease, almost 600,000 deaths per year. Cancer, 567,628. Chronic lower respiratory diseases, 137,353. We have stroke, which cardiovascular diseases, cerebrovascular diseases, 1,000, 100,000, 128,000. So 350,000 deaths per year are linked to overweight and obesity. Hold on, I think we have a technical difficulty. Let me get my slides up here, wondering why it's not working. Take a sip of water real quick. Hey, Chris, check that and see if that's on. So I'm going to keep cruising. I don't know what's up with the slides, but just create a visual instead of not wasting time. So the next statistic, 220,000 up to 448,000 deaths a year happen under the terminology iatrogenesis. Now, when Chris and I were in Institute of Integrative Nutrition, we came across this term iatrogenesis, and to be honest with you, I had never heard of it in my life, and I've been in the wellness industry for over 30 years. I started since I was 7. So the term iatrogenesis is the terminology that Western medicine uses specifically for preventable deaths that happen in hospitals from over medication, staph infection, which happens a lot, just things that are preventable happen, and this results in death. Okay, it's crazy because the range of deaths goes from 220,000 to 448,000, which is a massive difference. Okay, that's good information to know. It's not like you can go to Google and type up heart attacks and you see all the stuff. You can't type. Who would ever think of the word iatrogenesis and go in there and type it up and figure out that's exactly what's going on? So first disappointing thing is that it's not under something that most people could recognize, so they could truly get an understanding of what's really going on and then take into account what's available. That's iatrogenic deaths. Now, here's the good thing. The good thing is that over 90% of these are actually preventable through lifestyle. So what Chris and I love to speak on specifically is air, water, food, and consciousness, which we believe, and it's actually, you can prove it. The first thing you're going to die with is air. Second thing you're going to die without is water. The third thing you're going to die without is food. And the fourth thing that's going to make probably the biggest difference in what we're going to discuss tonight is your consciousness or your mindset. Because in my opinion, what I've gathered from working with over 15,000 people is that we break down energetically before we do physically. Meaning there's thoughts and patterns that I start thinking about that start to affect certain areas of the body, our body, that create certain symptoms that if they're not checked will lead into certain dis-eases, which are preventable and reversible. So we're going to get into a lot of that stuff, specifically on mindset and how important it is for us to reach our goals. So drink time. I'm going to keep cruising. Since you can't see the slides, I'm going to skip to this next one. So here's the next one. The genetic lie. Okay, so for ever since I can remember, we have been under the impression and being fed the fact or the not so factual information of we are a slave to our genes, which is not true. Okay, for a long time, you thought, well, you have genetic predisposition for this and this. And yes, potentially, and yes, you can change it by how you start thinking about things and what differences you start to make in your life to recess those genes. So I invite you to take into account the information I'm about to share with you, specifically by Bruce Lupton, so you can truly get an understanding of what we think and what we perceive is what we create in our life and our genetic code. So 75 to 85% of our genetic code is expressive and can be recessive by control of our environment. That is our thinking, feeling, belief, diet, stress, and environment. So what this truly means is that all of the stuff and information that we have been handed down and choosing to believe without really, or wanting to believe without really knowing that that's actual information, is shoot, that's life-changing. And to kind of give you an idea, here's a very staggering statistics in my opinion. Less than 3% of graduating physicians have a minimal of 6 hours of nutritional education. And honestly, that's no more than really knowing, like, a protein gram has 4 calories, a carbohydrate gram has 4 calories, a gram of fat has 9 calories. That's what that entails. You would think that how important air, water, food are in our life, considering that's what we would die without first, you almost think that it would make most common sense, at least for where I'm and Chris are coming from, to really focus on maximizing the quality and quantity of the air that you drink, cancel the air that you breathe, and the food that we eat, and the water that we drink. None of these things are discussed, which to me is kind of mind-boggling. So here's the term again that we saw, self-directed neuroplasticity. It's a big word for this. Whatever you think on and whatever you concentrate on, you can eventually change your hardwiring in your brain to believe and receive these type of things. Meaning your brain is constantly changing. Like, if you ever seen or heard of the game comes around a lot, called Luminosity, that's all about neuroplasticity. It's about training your brain to be the best. There's foods you can do, there's mindset meditations you can do, there's supplements to help out, there's all kinds of stuff. But our brains are amazing. Like, they are by far more capable than 3 or 4 supercomputers combined because of the capacity of what they are available to do. So taking care of your brain and understanding this stuff it will make a massive difference in your life. I can tell you that. This is why I have specifically devoted my time, resources, and passion to learning and mastering everything I can about the human body. And Chris and I are on a mission. And we have learned some really amazing stuff that we're going to share with you. And you can probably tell by my voice that I am super enthusiastic about sharing this stuff, because what I've seen it do. Water break. All right. So now, placebo versus nocebo. The Power of Belief is a book. Cancel. The book is The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. And you may hear me, you've already probably heard me say cancel a few different times. I'm going to show you that trick. Chris and I both will. When you are using words of self-sabotage, our bodies and brains are just like computers. If you cancel and clear a word out, it will erase it and allow you to start fresh. And as we really start getting into these mindset tricks, you're going to understand that your language is your most important piece to your arsenal. It's like the rudder of a ship, a massive ship, one that carries 100 to 200 fighter jets and 5,000 people. I'm talking massive. That's how massively important our tongues are and what we're using to communicate, because that is what creates our experiences and changes our emotional vibrations and how we feel based off of words that are coming out of our mouth, which produce thoughts in our yes, very important. So back to this, I got excited. Bruce Lipton wrote the book, The Biology of Belief. It is an amazing book. I'm going to give you the most important part on the next slide, so just hold your breath. Actually, don't. Breathe deep into your stomach and drink some water. You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza has some really good work as well. How it applies to pharma. So the big deal with pharma is that they basically are raking it in off of giving illnesses and symptoms names. Because once you have a name, then you can create all kinds of stuff around it to support that. Now, what I invite you to do, whether you walk away with anything or not, I invite you to do this. I invite you to never, moving forward, even in your past, if you have, we'll discuss that. I invite you to never agree or accept whatever disease, illness, health condition, whatever comes out of your doctor's mouth, because once you have a name, then it has power over you. Instead, just look at the symptoms. What Chris and I understand how to do is body language, meaning if someone walks up to me and they've got some kind of pain, and their back and their calf on the right side, well, I know for a fact that they've got an issue moving forward, either with male figures or with their job. There is an amazing amount of information going on that is available to us that will literally, I won't say blow your mind, cancel, because that's literal. It will expand your mind, quantum levels of where you're at now. Just in my last 2-3 months of learning more stuff, it's like, wow, this is amazing. Okay. That's how that applies to big pharma, which is big pharmas are pharmaceutical industries. The next one is death by diagnosis, which I just touched on. Once you have a name, so you name something, it has power over you. Instead, I invite you to say this: I may have symptoms of this and symptoms of that. Whatever, we can work with that much easier. Man, Chris and I both have seen amazing stories in Power of Possibility with people who give their body a true chance to heal and to do all of the foods and do all the mindset tricks and the exercise and truly create the environment for thriving. I have seen wild stuff happen, and it still to this day baffles my mind at what I've seen. I've worked with over 15,000 people, Chris and I, and the sole reason why we do what we do is because of what we have seen it do in our own lives, in our families' lives, in our clients' lives, and more than likely your life. You've maybe had some information that's come across your plate by Chris or I, or just kind of started getting into our information, and we love you and support you. And this is why we do what we do, specifically for you, to bring you the best information that we are aware of that is out there. And this is it for us. So when I'm talking, most people may have certain things they do for pastimes, and this is it. This is my favorite thing on the planet to do. We are in the midst of it. So let's carry on. Placebos are forbidden in practice due to perceived deception. Now, it's very interesting that we put that on there, because if you have a placebo and you think that you are going to heal, your mind will trigger your whole body into creating that response. This may make a little bit more sense to you now. Let me read this to you, okay? Bruce Lipton, this is The Biology of Belief. Some of it's a little mumbo-jumbo-ish, but just bear with me, because there's some of it I still don't even understand all that, but I understand the bottom part well enough to present it to you so you can get it too. So the science of signal transduction focuses upon the biochemical pathways by which cells respond to environmental cues. Environmental signals engage cytoplasmic processes, sounds pretty crazy, that can alter gene expression and thereby control cell fate, influence cell movement, control cell survival, or even sentence a cell to death, which is called apoptosis. You may have heard me reference that in acai and plant or vegetables that have the real dark purple. All right, finishing. Signal transduction science recognizes that the fate and behavior of an organism is directly linked to its perception of the environment. In simple terms, the character of our life is based upon how we perceive it. Now, this goes to say that if you're hanging out with people that aren't serving your highest purpose, don't expect yourself to fall too far from that tree. And that doesn't mean by any means that any day, at any point in time, that you can't completely decide to change and do whatever it is that you choose to. So that's very empowering. I am not perfect. Chris is not either. And we definitely can vouch for all this stuff. All right. So self-directed neuroplasticity. Did you know that out of the 100% that makes up our conscious and our subconscious mind, our subconscious mind accounts for 99.994%. Now you may be thinking, wow, that's almost 100%. It is minus 0.006%. That's the conscious mind. Now, here's what this means. Think about this. Subconscious. Sub meaning underneath our awareness. I don't think most people truly don't understand that this is something that's operating that we more than likely have no conscious clue. We're just reacting to experiences based off of the information that is being filtered through our experiences and events and circumstances in our lives, good or bad. or less than our highest potential. How's that? So now let's talk about this. This is the whole ant and the elephant. This is a great story, in my opinion, and I hope you enjoy it. So here it goes. Move my little keyboard out of the way. Let's get a sip real fast, too. So the ant and the elephant are great friends. I mean, they have been buds for a long time. Just like friends and just like family, there's always a disagreement of some such. And this is what happened this day in the jungle. So the elephant, they're in the rainforest in wherever, Jamaica. And the ant is on top of the elephant, and the ant has a sugarcane stick in his hand, and they're cruising to go find these awesome coconuts down the way. So they're enjoying themselves, they're having a good time, and they make it to the coconut place, and they get it open, and they're eating, drinking refreshing coconut water and enjoying their experience. And they said, all right, let's go to the next stop. And the elephant's like, okay, let's do it. So the ant gets on, gets his little stick, and he says, let's go to the right, over where the pond is, where everybody's hanging out at 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoons. And the elephant's like, you know, I don't like that pond. I like the one ahead over there where all the rhinos go and hang out. So what happens is, needless to say, there is a conflict in where their destinations are. So you may have a good inkling of what's going to happen. So you're right. The elephant decides where they're going, and the ant hasn't a clue. Now, here's a story to relate to this. Our elephant is our subconscious mind. Our ant is our conscious mind. What this means is our subconscious stores every piece of information and experience we have ever been exposed to in our life, which means that our experience in our relationships, in our business, in our relationship to money, in our relationships with our friends, our self-worth, all of this stuff is stored, in which our experiences that happen in our life are filtered through all of these experiences, which creates our current position. So you can imagine if you've had experiences where, I'll just speak for myself, this is the best person I can relate to is me. So I was suicidal when I was 20. And things went really just crazy, and I was not emotionally, had never been in that situation. Push came to shove, and was just really thought I was at my wit's end. Thank God I'm here enjoying this experience with you. So what happened was, one day I was in class with my coach, Bob Tennyson Stevens, or Chris and my coach. And this is the guy who teaches us all our body language and all our conscious languaging. A lot of stuff we'll be sharing with you. Well, I'm sitting in class, and there's about 20 of us in there, and I'm really scratching my left bicep like really hard. And I knew some body language, but not that much yet. So I'm scratching my arm, and I'm like, man, that means something. I desire to know what it means. So at the break, I walk over to Bob, and I was like, hey, Bob, what does such and such mean with me scratching my arm? And literally 4 or 5 words out of my mouth, he goes, how long have you had a death wish? And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. I said, I had one when I was 20. And then he asked me specifically, have you chosen life? I said, yeah, of course, which means no, not wrong, just feedback. So what happened was during that next 20 minutes of class, he helped to coach me and renegotiate me back into my experience of me loving myself and me giving myself permission to forgive my former relationship I was in, and me giving myself permission to move forward. And I thought I had already done this stuff consciously because I had moved forward in my life. But here's what happened. I kept having experiences where I would be in a really great mood and things would be going really great and I'd be doing awesome. And then all of a sudden I would start having sabotage thoughts out of nowhere. Well, guess what? I didn't know this, but my elephant and my ant didn't want to go to the same pond. And my elephant had all these experiences of I don't love myself, and love equals pain, and unforgiveness and anger and whatever else was pent up in there. The elephant was just having all these experiences, and the ant was in for it. Because every time the elephant would throw an idea or a deconstructive thought in my head, well, of course, the ant's not going to make it. I would sabotage myself. And I'm like, where in the world is all this coming from? And if you look around your life right now and you look at your relationship, you look at your relationship with yourself, you look at your business, you look at your money, you look at your family, you look at every aspect of your life, your joy, your peace, your creativity, your spiritual alignment, your health, your physical activity, your home cooking, all of this stuff. If you look at it and you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being just, man, I don't know if I could get any better. That's how awesome I feel about this specific area of my life. If you're not 8s and 9s and 10s on a consistent basis, I'm just telling you and inviting you to understand that it is available. And it's going to come by making mind shift adjustments to support your growth process. Feeding your elephant great bananas instead of GMO bananas, and allowing him to have great information, and forgiving old situations and old past hurts and pains, and giving yourself permission to forgive those, so that elephant can throw those rocks off his pouch, and the elephant can go to the same pond and enjoy their day. I can tell you this. I can look back in my life when I was in my class that day with my coach, Chris was there. I can look back in my life and I can say, you know what? Every experience and crazy experience I had would be a definite indicator that I did not love myself. And it's okay. It's where I was, and I don't even say luckily anymore. God blessed me and helped me to make it through, because I should have been dead 10 times over. Cancel clear. I choose my thriving life. That's conscious languaging. Now, with us learning all these new tools and the stuff we're going to be sharing with you, all we're doing is we're creating new neural pathways, new self-directed neuroplasticity. And the beauty of it is it's self-directed, not someone else giving you commercials and giving you secondhand feedback and giving you TV shows and all kinds of stuff that's polluting your brain and not allowing you to think and not allowing you to maximize who you truly am, because there are things in the way that are allowing the good stuff not to settle in. And the beauty of it is we have total control to change it whenever we desire to. And it's not about destroying old pathways. It's about putting the new ones on top of it. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy is what our whole body, our whole universe, everything that you are sitting in, wearing, smelling, all of it is energy right now. And you can't create new energy and you can't destroy it. All you can do is flip it and change the shape. For example, the emotion anger turns into my forgiveness. The emotion of grief or sadness turns into my joy. All I would be doing was taking the energy of that thought pattern and flipping it into something new that I'm choosing to experience. And by your words, by my words and our words, we are justified or condemned, meaning whatever you speak out of your mouth is going to create something in your experience. Okay? And here is the beauty of body language. Did you know that over 85%, 85%, I'm sitting here shaking my head. This is amazing. 85% of our communication is done non-verbally. I'm about to come out of my chair. So basically, this is what I desire for you to think about. You are probably itching and scratching your face, your legs, your nostril, your eyebrows, your ear. All kinds of stuff is going on right now. And that is your subconscious using your body as an instrument to communicate to me if I could see you. How wild is that? Chris and I have 2 different body language coaches, and we have been head over for 3 years. One of our coaches does CIA Secret Service stuff, and he does sniper stuff. And man, learning static positions, like somebody's foot positions, their hand positions, tight muscles, like literally being able to identify what belief patterns are functioning and how to support them by understanding how to address languaging and how to address belief systems in a non-invasive way, creating immediate rapport and creating a win-win situation for everyone involved. Wow, I need a drink. This stuff is amazing to me. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. So here's the steps. Number 1, our thoughts. 3, feelings. Or I'm sorry, 2, cancel. I apologize. Sorry means I'm a turd and I'm not worth it. So try it on. Say I'm sorry. Say, I'm sorry again, and then say, I apologize. I apologize. Now, if I didn't even mean to raise the volume in my voice, my body and my subconscious was like, yes, we'll be having some of that, please. Words happen like this all day long, and this is what we are, word smites, and we love to share so you can feel immediately what the difference is. So back to the top. One's thoughts, two's feelings, three is actions. Your thoughts will create feelings, your feelings will create actions. This applies in our relationships, our business, our health, all the above. So we are at a very amazing time on our journey on the planet. We are standing on the shoulders of millions of amazing people and all of the wisdom that they have found, experienced it, and found out to be truth. We get all of this stuff. And it's also a very interesting time with science and spirituality, because it's not one or the other nowadays, it's both. The more we understand science, the greater we understand our spiritual nature. These two forces are now intervening and creating amazing stuff that's going on. By our verbal language and body language, stress, fear, anxiety all show up in physical symptoms via pains and ailments and symptoms. This is when we talked about specifically not addressing or identifying with any type of dis-ease. So I love that picture. It throws me off every time I see it. So here's what we're offering to you today. And we would love to serve you with this information, because in my opinion, and Chris would agree, this is the most potent information that we could share with you to change your life immediately. Food is great, yes, and understanding why kiwis reverse asthma and why fish oils are great for brain hormone, DHA, I mean, just for brain functioning and all that fun stuff, that's all amazing. And this stuff is where the rubber meets the road. So what we're offering you today is a whole series that we are starting literally in 30 minutes after this call. We're starting the whole 4-week series. So you are right on the front end. So this is what we're addressing in the series: breaking limiting belief patterns, how to understand when you have limiting belief patterns, how to experience them with your body so you know that your thought patterns are not serving your highest potential, how to set your goals and priorities and making the time to thrive and be successful, because it's not going to make time for you. The power of affirmations. Affirmations alone have changed my life, hands down. Changing or transitioning your language from I'm sorry to I apologize. Try that one in again and see how you feel. The next one is becoming aware of self-sabotage, which would have been great for me about 10 years ago. It's okay. I choose to love where I'm at in my life 100%, take full responsibility for everything that has ever happened and is going to happen. And I invite you to do the exact same with no judgment. Just love yourself and just say, you know what? I forgive myself for all my past experiences that I'm unhappy with. I forgive my mom, my dad, all that, because that is going to inhibit you from moving forward into what's capable and what's possible for you. So here's the next one. These are 12 symptoms that you are starting to become spiritually awake. And when I say spiritual, just do the translation. If you believe in God, awesome. I do. If you don't believe in God, I still love you. It's not about that. It's about connecting with human beings and sharing things that work right now. And this is what we're doing. 12 symptoms of spiritual awakening: an increased tendency to let things happen rather than make them happen. Frequent attacks of smiling, feelings of being connected with others in nature, frequent overwhelming episodes of appreciation, a tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than from fears based on past experiences, an unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment. Guess what? The only moment we have is right now. So if you're not living in it, you're wasting your time. The past will never happen again, and the future may never happen. I invite you to invest your time of thinking about what you can be right now, which will help you tomorrow. A loss of ability to worry, a loss of interest in conflict. If you engage in conflict, you are acting like a victim. And I love you. because I've been there and I find myself sometimes going in and out of that role, and I check it and shift. This is stuff we'll be talking about. A loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others, a loss of interest in judging others, and instead voting victory. This is an amazing piece of information that if you're taking notes, I invite you to write this down maybe twice. As human beings, we are all flawed. And when we pick up something in someone else that triggers us or makes us unhappy, guess what? We have whatever they have that is triggering us. If you caught it, you got it. And if you notice yourself being judgmental, here's what I invite you to do instead. Instead, say, I vote such and such as victory, or I vote my victory. I would invite you just to do this. Say, I vote my victory, like you're voting your own victory, because in essence, we are only one human being on the planet subconsciously. So by voting my victory and loving myself, I'm not going to be judging that person, because that's why we're getting a holographic or a reflection in someone else that triggers our stuff. I've had some big ahas today of just digging through files and filters and finally figuring out, oh, wow, this is where this is coming from. It may be hidden under 3 or 4 veils. That's okay. Vote your victory. Gaining the ability to love without expecting anything, which is a big one. And we can all, probably most of us potentially, are functioning in some type of codependent relationship. And it's not wrong. It's just where we're at. And when we are able to clean these things up with our language and understand when we're operating in codependence, for example, if you ever use a saying, such and such, you make me feel like this, or this happened because of you, and you're at cause versus effect, which means that you are giving all your power away because you're saying, you make me feel this way. And instead, I invite you to try this on and see how it fits or feels. So I may say, for example, oh, how interesting. I noticed that I feel this and this when you do that. That gets me off the hook, where I'm not basing my well-being and life and feelings on someone based off of my languaging, which is all stuff we'll share in this series. So the next one, I believe we have, yeah. So this testimonial I'm going to share with you, it's from a longtime friend of mine. And I'm choosing to share it with you because if she would not have listened to me and had an open mindset, because keep in mind, our minds are like parachutes. They only work when they're open. My friend Violet here has been told by many professionals she would never come off of any of the medications and things that she was on. So without me stealing her experience, and it still baffles me when I listen to this. Just listen to what happened to her with her adjusting her mindset and putting some things on the side, on the back burner, and just trying some things out that we worked on together. So here you go.
Hi, my name is Violet. I choose to take a few minutes and talk to you about my experience with reaching out to Brian. About 6 months ago, I contacted Brian. I just had some questions about nutrition, things I could change up just to start feeling better. And we also talked about different medications I was on at the time. He mentioned foods that specifically could do the same thing as what the medications were doing, except naturally. And so along with that, and the other list of things that he said to try, I started doing that immediately. And after about a month, I started to wean myself off of one of my medications. And then after I got off that one, I started weaning myself off another medication. And after 3 months, I had gotten off of 5 medications. Some of these medications I was on for 30 years, some I was on for 15 years, and some I was on for 10 years. And so these are things that I thought I was going to have to take for the rest of my life. Before that conversation with Ryan, I didn't even realize that there was another option. And, it's been 6 months since, I talked to him about these, specific things, and 3 months of being completely off medicine. And I really am so happy and thankful and grateful for Brian and for the work that he does, and just the love that he has for people, and showing them that they have other options, you know, that they can feel good just with the right information. And I just feel really blessed to, you know, have that opportunity to, you know, talk to him about those things going on in my health and my diet, and that, you know, he's so knowledgeable and just really helpful, and offers you this opportunity to change your life. And that's at least the way I look at it, because I look at this more than just, you know, oh, I'm off medication. To me, it's a miraculous act, you know, to be able to say I'm free from all of this. And it's also given me, you know, such a sense of empowerment too, to know that, you know, doctors couldn't do this, you know, goes from the grocery store, I did that. So it's kind of wild, but definitely grateful for it. Thank you.
It's all right. You know, it's crazy because we get those type of things that happen in people's lives pretty much on a regular basis, and it's almost expected and completely humbling at the same time because of what the information does for people in their life, and sometimes instantaneously, most of the time when you're talking body language and languaging. So here's what we're offering you. This is our 4-week course, and typically we would charge $497. Here's what we're offering it to you today for $197. Starts this Thursday, never mind that little part. And here's what you're going to get. You're going to get 4 live webinars, probably talking an hour each, maybe even go a little bit more. It's all about changing your mindset. You will also have access to the recordings if you miss the live sessions. I encourage you to be there because we're actually doing Google Hangouts where you can fire off questions in the middle of the talk. So it's integrative. That's the best way I like doing it, because I can answer questions right on the spot for someone and help them to truly have a change immediately. That's what I'm all about right now, in case you haven't noticed that. So the bonuses that you will get: all of our recipe books, 2 months access to our closed membership site. You'll also get a 30-minute, I like to say, discovery session with myself or Francis, which is Chris. And then you'll also get 2 Jedi Secrets videos, which are videos that I have done specifically on nutrition, digestive health, hormone boosting, how to improve your sleep, all this stuff. And when we talk to you specifically, we will figure out which one to serve you with best. Here's the benefits. Learn how to master the basics through understanding your thoughts and your language and how they are going to affect everything in your life. Together, Chris and I have worked with over 15,000 people. Last year alone, we invested over $100,000 in coaches. Mine and Chris's education and our ability to serve is our most important purpose of being able to bring the best information to help you out in the best way possible immediately. Learn the secrets to help you work right and to be successful, because there's a big difference between working right and working hard. Nutrition program, we'll discuss understanding how to reverse symptoms and disease by understanding your mindset and recognizing patterns of self-sabotage. This will be in the form of a small group with the same goal, which is to get healthy. So here's where you're at. I mean, basically today you have the opportunity to figure out if you're not full of joy, why you're not. If you're not full of peace, why you're not. How to change it. How to create health for yourself and for your family. How to start wearing the clothes that you choose versus what you have to, by understanding the mindsets that go into creating a lifelong habit and lifestyle out of this. Now, 1 second, because we're going to hop back over live here. So hopefully the information that I share with you opens some files up where you got some things going on. You're thinking, wow, this is pretty interesting stuff. It is. It's probably by far out of even over learning how to work with people with prostate and cancer and AIDS and things nutritionally. Mindset and body language just baffles my mind at how much more just crazy it is of understanding it and understanding when you're off your mark and how to get back on it immediately. So now I have one last gift for you that was not on there. Okay. So here's what we're doing for tonight only. The price drops down to $144 from $197, $497 on top of that. So if you don't catch it today, it goes up to $497, and I love you. So that's, we encourage people to take action now, because now is the only time that you have. You deserve the best, and understanding how to control and to feed your mindset is your first and biggest asset and or your liability. So I invite you to join us in the next 12 minutes. We actually start week 1. So if there's any questions I can ask for you, please look me up on Facebook, shoot me a message. I thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself through me. And it has been my pleasure to serve you with this information, and I look forward to connecting with you further and sharing more amazing stuff with you. So hopefully you got some amazing stuff that you can use right now. And remember, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. Have an awesome night. High five. Bye.